Here in problem 8 is another multiplication we want to perform. And again, we want to get our answer first in fractional form, and then when we're done with fractional form, we'll convert it to its equivalent decimal form. And the technique that I want to show you to do this problem is a technique where we first of all remove all of the decimal numbers that are there. In this particular instance, 4 and 25/100ths, so I can rewrite that as 4 and 25 over 100. In this case, I want to use that idea of multiplying by some power of 10. If I multiply the numerator and denominator of that fraction by 10, I've really only multiplied that fraction by 1. So I haven't changed the value of the fraction, I'm just changing its appearance. And the reason I chose a multiplier of 10 is because 10 multiplied times 5/10 simply moves the decimal point one place to the right, removing that decimal number for me. So now this becomes 5 over 20. 10 times 5/10 gave me 5. I just moved the decimal point one place to the right. The reason it was 1 because I'm multiplying by a number that has 1 0 there. And 10 times 2 is 20. I want to use the similar technique to get rid of the decimal number here. So again, I'll multiply both of these portions of the fraction by 10. 1 times 10 is 10 over 3.5 times 10 moves the decimal point one place to the right, giving me 35. And now let's convert this mixed number into an improper fraction so that we have all fractions that we can continue multiplying with. 4 times 100 is 400 plus 25, so this gives me 425 over 100 times 5 over 20 times 10 over 35. And now I will reduce here as much as possible and then multiply what's left to get the fractional form of my answer. Once I have the fractional form of my answer, I will then convert that to its decimal equivalent. Well, 5 over 20. 5 goes into 5 one time. 5 goes into 20 4 times. Remember, you can reduce within the same fraction. 10 and 100. 10 goes into 10 one time. 10 goes into 100 10 times. I know both of these numbers are divisible by 5. The reason I know that is because they end in 5. So 5 goes into 35 7 times. 5 would go into 425 85 times. And that I could have done longhand. I was able to just kind of figure that out looking at it, doing the division in my head. And now both of these numbers are divisible by 5. 5 goes into 10 2 times. 5 will go into 85. Let's see, that should be, I think, 17 times. 5 times 10 is 50. 5 times 7 is 35. 50 and 35 is 85. So what do we have left? We have 17 over 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 7 is 56. So the fractional answer is 17/56. And then to get its decimal equivalent, rounded to the nearest tenth, the way I always convert a fraction to a decimal is to divide the denominator into the numerator. And if I want to round to the nearest tenth, I'll have to have a digit here in the hundredths place. 56 won't go into 17, so I have to put that leading 0 there. 56 into 170 should go 3 times. 3 times 6 is 18. 8 carry the 1. 3 times 5 is 15. And 1 is 16. 56 won't go into 20. And so that gives me a 0 here in the hundredths place. So when I'm doing my rounding off to the nearest tenth, it would simply be 3/10. So the product of those numbers as a fraction is 17/56, and a decimal equivalent to the nearest tenth is 3/10.